Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Imran. Today, I will be live streaming from Mersin in Turkey, and I want to welcome all of you, Voyagers old and new. Thank you very much for joining me. We are going to have a wonderful time. You can see the weather is beautiful. Unlike that last tour that I did in Istanbul, where it was snowing and it was really awful. But I have done a test. The signal should be okay throughout. What we're going to do is we're going to walk through this little lane that some of you may have already seen, which is a small specialist market selling tasbihs or prayer beads. From here, we'll cut through a little square where you'll see a lot of local men, some women hanging around and just basically enjoying themselves. And we'll cut through to another market, see the Grand Mosque of Mersin, and then head across towards the shores of the Mediterranean. It is a lovely day in Mersin. It's 17 degrees Celsius, which puts it at about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Lovely is all relative, right? I'm coming from Kayseri, which is in central Turkey, and it was minus 17 when I left. So, welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining me. Now, before we begin, I just want to again show you where exactly Turkey is and its location. So you can see where it is in the Middle East. It's surrounded by many countries, has borders with a lot of countries, and how I also got to Mersin. Let me show you. It's been a little bit of a roundabout way. So I landed in Istanbul. From there, I took the train to Ankara. I took another train to Kayseri, and I stayed for a couple of nights in Ankara, stayed for a few nights in Kayseri, couldn't take the cold anymore, decided to come to Mersin a little earlier because we thought the weather was much warmer, and it is. And from Mersin, you can see I have some arrows drawn out because the next step is for us to go to Cyprus, or Kibris as it's called. So we are taking a ferry tomorrow overnight to Turkish Cyprus, or northern Cyprus. And hopefully I'll be able to stream something from there. I did see a few questions. Let me come back to them. Am I Turkish? No, I am not. In fact, I normally live stream from Singapore, which is where I've lived for the last 25 years, although I was born in Pakistan. And we have not been affected by the earthquake over here. So enough of me and enough of my face. Let's start with the market. So this is, as I said, a specialist market of prayer beads and other things as well. You can see there are specialist watches here. I have to be careful in this little lane. Watches, antiques, things like that. And of course, this being a Hago tour, please feel free to chime in if you have questions, comments, or if you have something to add. These are some of the beautiful prayer beads that are being sold over here. I believe there was one person early on in the chat who said they had been to Mersin. I wonder if you have anything that yeah, Anne. So were you on your way to Cyprus, or was it just a stopover for some reason? You can also see as we move around that a lot of the people over here indeed do also use prayer beads very regularly. It's very common. The stones are semi-precious. These are semi-precious stones. Okay, very nice. And so you have some friends over here. All right, so let's carry on. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to that square, but along the way, something very, very Turkish, which is, of course, the shoe polishing experience. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get to the Mediterranean shores and we're going to walk around a little bit. You might remember a couple of the monuments that I will show you. One of them is the Martyrs Monument. And the second one, of course, is being Turkey. Very difficult to escape some statues and other things commemorating and honoring Ataturk, Mustafa Kemal. So we will see something of him. So this is the square that I was talking about. And you can come here pretty much any time of the day. And what you will find is people just literally hanging around. Let me give you a little 360 here of the square. So over there you have the some shops. For some reason, and maybe Anne or others can chime in because there are a lot of gold shops in Mersin, and a lot of friendly people as well. Yeah. So you can see they're all very, very friendly. Some of them are faces that I've seen here since. So marhaba. So uh, and this square has a okay, Beta, you'll have to translate that for me. My Turkish is very limited. So this square has this statue honoring female worker, and if anyone speaks Turkish, they can also translate that. Kadin, I know, means female or women. Oh, thank you very much, Beta. So, and of course, one of the Turkish traditions is to just sit around and drink your chai, right? Many of us who have traveled to Istanbul, we get caught up with elma chai or apple tea, but the traditional tea is basically just a very strong tea. And it's had without milk. You can also see the nature of the people here, very diverse because of course you've got a lot of people who are a lot of females who are a little bit more conservatively dressed. You also see many other different types of clothing and attire, and you'll see that as we move around. So welcome everyone. In case you have just joined me, my name is Imran and I am taking you through Mersin, which is a port city on the shores of the Mediterranean in what is effectively southeastern Turkey. And I am going to do something which in Singapore we heavily, heavily frown upon, which is jaywalk. So it would be a bit embarrassing for me to get a jaywalking ticket in Turkey, but there we go. Sally, yes, there are, from what I have read, there are lots of refugees over here, primarily Syrian. You do hear Arabic on the streets quite often. And recently, what I have read is that also as a result of the earthquake, because we are right on the fringes of the earthquake epicenter, there are a lot of people who have come here to escape or for basically seeking shelter. All right. Gregory? No, I was just being a little bit sarcastic. Of course, you can. But in Singapore, we are well trained. We can only cross at places where there are zebra crossings or green mans and red mans. So, authorized crossings. Otherwise, jaywalking is a finable offense, something like the equivalent of 30 US dollars. No problem, of course, Andre. So here we are, a little food street over here. We can show you, you can see how friendly the people are over here. You can also see some of the specialities that they have here in Turkey. One of the things that is supposedly a must eat here is the tantuni, very famous from Mersin. So, how's everyone doing so far? Everything okay? Signal okay? Great. Wonderful. Thank you very much for joining me. And one of the things that we have experienced as we walk around and we travel around Turkey, and this is our second long trip to Turkey, is language. Now, some of you, I think it seems on this chat, can speak Turkish, but it is a language that I guess I should be picking up, but I'm lazy a little bit. And I don't have the flair for languages that some people do. And Google Translate is a wonderful companion. You can see when it really, beta, it should be a little bit easier than, say, Mandarin, which is one of the languages that we speak in Singapore, but maybe more difficult than Malay. What is my native language? Well, my mother tongue is technically Urdu, which is what we speak in Pakistan. And because of Urdu, I should have some affinity to Turkish, not so much, but some affinity. It's spelled Urdu. Yeah, Don, Google Translate has been really wonderful. So some jewelry and some more prayer beads. And this, of course, very traditional Turkish jewelry, right? The Audi sign. Urdu is probably closer, beta, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Uh, Urdu is probably closer to Farsi, which is spoken in Iran, than it is to Turkish. But there are quite a number of words which I can pick out now and then in Turkish. And of course, there are also many words that are picked out that I can pick out from Arabic. Urdu, incidentally, is itself a Turkish word, and it means military camp or military base because way back when the Mughals, the Mughal Empire was around in the subcontinent in India, it was the language spoken by the soldiers because the soldiers used to speak many different languages, and they came up with this language that basically became known as Urdu. Baklava. And there's a city in Turkey on the Black Sea coast, if I'm not mistaken, that is called Urdu. So one of the gold shops that I mentioned, they have spelt that city Ordu, Urdu, but it does mean military camp. I'm not sure if any of the ladies in the chat would be happy wearing these type of gold necklaces and gold jewelry, but thank you, Claire. Ah, I won't mention anything, Jazz, at this point. Now, Mersin is a port town, and when I read a little bit about the history of Mersin, and I'm going to now continue walking through, you can see people enjoying their chai, their coffee. So, yeah, they are a little bit fancy, right? So when I was doing my research on Mersin, one of the things that I realized is, of course, it's a very, very old city. So you can go back to the Greeks, the Romans, and go back to many centuries BC. Greeks, Romans, Armenians, Arabs, Seljuk Turks, and then the Ottoman Turks who came around the 16th century. And the sun is here. It's very nice after that time in Kayseri. So the Seljuk Turks, the Ottoman Turks, I'm just crossing the road, and of course now modern Turkey. And this city, the port here is very important for it economically because it services many of the southern European countries. So many of the exports that go to those countries leave from over here. And it is also the gateway to northern Cyprus, also known as Turkish Cyprus. One interesting fact, if we have any North Americans or particularly those from the US in the chat, is that during the US Civil War, Mersin became a particularly important port because it started to export lots of cotton to the northern US. As the cotton from the Confederate States had been cut off, Mersin benefited tremendously and became a major hub for exporting cotton to the US. That also meant that they built a rail line to Mersin, which is still in existence today and was used for bringing the cotton to the port. Deborah, I haven't checked. I may check when Edwina is not with me. All right. So here we are. Those of you who have just joined me, I am walking around Mersin, which is a port town in southeastern Turkey on the Mediterranean coast. And in front of you is the Ulu Jami, or the main mosque. Now it's a little bit, and there's a square all around it. This mosque, I was a little bit disappointed by it because, and we have some friends as well with us because animals are a big part of Turkish culture. So you can see one of our friends here, and there's another one who seems to be eating something up there. But back to the mosque. Now, the original Grand Mosque in Mersin was built in 1878. The one that we see, you can see, looks a little bit more concrete and more modern, perhaps even utilitarian, if I can use that word. This is from the 1970s because the old mosque was demolished to make way for a new one, which is much larger. So we are seeing the mosque from the 1970s. And you might notice this gentleman here washing, drinking from this very interesting statue of water of a traditional Turkish tea man, chaiwala. Let me take this vertical for you in case you want to take a postcard in 1, 2, 3. So you can see they've converted it into a tap, a public tap for water, but this gentleman really is going around in the bazaars of Turkey everywhere. And what he does is he dispenses tea, which he is carrying on the back. Many of you, if you've been to a city like Istanbul, will see this right outside the Blue Mosque or Hagia Sophia. Many of these tea people there. No, chai over here is spelt differently, and they don't use chaiwala. I just made that up for convenience's sake. So this is kind of another one of those public squares. And if you strain your eyes across the palm trees on the other side, you might see a little bit of blue. That is the Mediterranean. And you can see pigeons as well. I personally, and I prefer the Turkish coffee, but tea is lovely as well. So, welcome everyone to Mersin, Turkey, southeastern Turkey. Mersin is the name of the city. It's a port in southeastern Turkey. It is also a province. And I am Imran, and I am live streaming from here. In case you have not been on one of my tours before, please feel free to follow me. I hope to do some more tours from other parts of Turkey as well as I move around. I'm going to be here for another few weeks. I'm glad, Anne. And of course, if you want me to focus on something, please do let me know. So you can see the municipality does take some pride and pains to make life a little bit more comfortable for animals and perhaps give some entertainment for the little ones. All right, so let's carry on. And across there, if you strain your eyes, you'll see the Mediterranean Sea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and this road, I guess you can call it the Corniche. It's runs parallel to the Mediterranean. Is I'm going to just cross over and on the zebra crossing this time, and then jaywalk again, although not really jaywalking, and take you towards the sea. And you really cannot imagine how nice it is to be walking around in the sunshine after the freezing temperatures and snows that we had in Kayseri. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna cross the road. It's a little busy, but we're gonna do it safely. It is perfect weather. Need a little bit of a jacket, so it's cool. There's a breeze, but no complaints here. So from where the cars are coming, and here we go, we've got some cars that have stopped for us. So in the direction where the cars are heading, that is where the port is. And you can see one of the gantries there. And I'll give you a closer look from the shoreline as well. Andre, you know the city very well. Please, if there's other stuff about the history and the culture, please do add it because we are now essentially in Ataturk Park. So, those of you who have just joined, hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Imran, and I am live streaming today from Mersin in southeastern Turkey. And we are just about to hit the Mediterranean Sea. You can see the containers on the other side. That is part of Mersin International Port. And that is where Edwina and I are going to take a ferry across to northern Cyprus, Magosa or Famagusta, tomorrow night. And we have some football stars here posing for us, right? So can we, let's see, there we go. Any football stars, right? Okay. Sorry, I get easily distracted. Yeah, the kids are very, very friendly here, and I love playing with them because they obviously they don't understand most of what I'm saying. I don't understand most of what they're saying, but still, they are quite amused by me. So you can see the clear blue skies. Yeah, Deborah, it's devastating. And as I mentioned at the start of this tour, I feel almost a little guilty doing traveling around during this time, but it's very difficult. It would have been very difficult for me to change my tickets and my plans. And it's so far away from Singapore that to come back here again and so on. Unfortunately, Hago started, or I should not say unfortunately, Hago started this program to help raise money for the earthquake victims, but that came about a few hours after I had already put my tour up, and they didn't allow any name changes as a result in that policy. So I couldn't include this tour, but my future tours from Turkey will definitely also help earthquake victims. So this is the shoreline, the port. This is the Mediterranean. And you can see, I'll give you a nice 360 vision. And of course, you can't really escape Turkish men and their fishing rods. They're everywhere. And I hope you are not getting any obstruction or noises because of the wind. I do have my mic covered, but the wind is quite strong here. Wonderful. It's very windy here, and it seems like the sun is in the wrong place, but let's just walk a little bit down the corniche as well. Yeah, I hope people will participate in that tour by Patrick. Thank you for pointing that out because it's really very bad over here. And even now, several days after the earthquake, they are still pulling out people who are alive. So while most of the recovery work has been, or the rescue work has been completed, they are now shifting to reconstruction. And of course, it will require billions because from what I've seen on the television, and I'm sure you have as well, many of the cities in southeastern Turkey, Antep, Diyarbakir, Hatay, they have been, parts of them have been leveled and flattened. So you can see it is just past 3 p.m. in, I was about to say Singapore, in Mersin, and people are out and enjoying the sunlight and the beautiful views. Let me turn around and see if I can give you some shots with the light better being behind us. And in the distance, we have a container ship. All right, let's carry on, shall we? Head towards the Martyrs Monument. And I'm just scrolling back because I know that there was someone who gave me a tip right at the start of the tour and I forgot to acknowledge it. So I can't find the. Uh, yes, Julian, thank you very much for that. I'm sorry I did not acknowledge it earlier. It I was busy in the introduction, but thank you. As you all know, tips make a huge difference in our ability to push out new content on Hago, and Hago is such a great platform. I really enjoy myself on it, and hopefully you will enjoy some of my tours as well. So you can also see there are people selling things as well. Now, I have seen many corniches or esplanades around the world. Of course, we also have one in Singapore, but this is really one of the most beautiful ones that I've seen. The water is very clean and it's got a beautiful color as well. Even though we are really next to the port, there is a Mersin Marina. Andre and Anne, perhaps you have been to the marina itself. We have not been there yet. I'm planning to go there tomorrow and check that out as well. I'm not sure how different it is from what we have here.
I saw that you are speaking English, and I want to talk about Canada.
So you can see also lots of people having picnics as well up here in the grass. The sunlight may make it a little bit difficult. So if you have just joined me, welcome all Voyagers. My name is Imran. Please do consider following me if you are not already doing so. I am live streaming right now from Mersin in southeastern Turkey. We're on the shores of the Mediterranean with the beautiful, beautiful blue sea. That is the port area behind us. Families out to have a good time. Thank you very much, Catherine. Very kind of you. And let's carry on. You can see there's a boat, a wooden vessel up ahead. What they do is they offer cruises around the bay, I guess I would call it that, 30-minute cruises around the Mediterranean. I did ask if, jokingly, of course, if one of them could take me to Cyprus, and I think you'll know the sort of answer I got. Yes, I read about the quake and in New Zealand, but it seems as if the damage was not very extensive. But I really didn't go into the details.
Hello. Hello. When did you come here? Hello. You are from Mersin.
So, other than Anne and Andre, who seem to be both very familiar with Mersin, others who have been to Turkey or to Mersin, please feel free to share your experiences if you have. Leslie, you're right. There's line fishing, and in fact, you can even rent the lines from people over here. This is not tourist season, so it is a little bit quieter, I imagine, than what it would be during peak season. Let me just straighten the camera. Julianne, perhaps it's time for you to come back. Mersin is not the easiest of places to get to. You can take a flight to nearby Adana, but Adana was affected by the earthquake, and I'm not sure whether the airport is still running at full capacity or normally, given that probably they are operating a lot of relief flights as well. And as far as Mersin is concerned, think about the weather. As I said, when we left Istanbul, it was only about a week ago, or about 8, 9 days ago, it was snowing and it was in the negative Celsius. And at that time, it was about 7 degrees over here. And today, as I mentioned, it's 14 degrees.
You will have a child. Four, 4 months later, and you will have a girl. Thank you very much. Efendi, I will be.
Leslie, it's not school holidays, but as a result of the earthquake, the schools are not operating. This is something as well that is a specialty in Mersin.
When he finishes, you will introduce me to.
Shellfish, mussels, I believe, with lemon. And this is one of those boats that will take you on a cruise by the seaside. Mussels and lemon. So if you just give me a minute, folks, I'm going to clean the lens, okay? My camera. Maybe that will. And of course, for the kids, we have cotton candy. For some reason, they like Jack Sparrow over here. So all the boats seem to have a lot of pictures of Jack Sparrow. You might be able to see that. And that's where we've walked from. People enjoying the sea. Yeah, it's beautiful, the water here. Very calm. And people are really enjoying the weather as well. So, welcome everyone. If you've just joined me or you're new to the channel, my name is Imran and I am live streaming from Mersin in Turkey. And we are seeing views of the Mediterranean Sea, the calm blue waters of the Mediterranean Sea. More of these tourist boats that, and it seems that these days, because we're off season, the tourism is primarily domestic tourism. Leslie, yes, they do catch fish. Once in a while, I see people are bringing them in on their lines. They don't tend to be very big fish, and I wouldn't be able to name it for you.
Hadi kalkıyor, geliyor musunuz? Kalkıyor.
All right, so I'm going to now turn away from the sea because I want to show you a monument that is here in this Ataturk Park. Anne and Andre, you may remember it because it's been here since 1972. This is the Martyrs Monument.
Geliyor musun abi? Kalkıyor hemen. Abi geliyor musun?
And I'll try and get it so it's in a better light. This Martyrs Monument was put up in 72. From what I read, it is to honor the dead from two incidents. One goes back to the late 1800s. We get to the point where the sun is behind us. Late 1800s, in fact 1870 or 1890, when a Turkish naval frigate was on its way back from Japan and it sank in rough seas. Let me take this vertical for you in 1, 2, 3. So it sank in rough seas, and the entire crew on board, which amounted to several hundred, they perished. And this happened in 1890 on the way back from Japan. Then there was a second incident which took place during World War II. Now, Turkey was neutral during World War II. In 1941, several members of the Turkish military were proceeding to the UK for training from a ship that left from here in Mersin, from Mersin Port, and on its way to the United Kingdom, the ship was sunk by an unknown submarine using a torpedo. All 200 members of the military who were on the ship perished, and they also honor those dead at this Martyrs Memorial. All right, I'm going to take it back to vertical in three, one, two, three. Deborah, you ask about traders. Yes, in fact, that is one of the reasons why this city has been around from many centuries BC, because the natural port gave it some distinct advantages, as well as the location. You are on the Mediterranean, so you are basically not far from Greece, Italy, and the Greeks and the Romans were both here in the past. I did mention earlier that the port had received a big fillip, a big boost during the US Civil War, when this port started to send out a lot of cotton to the northern US states, to the Union, because they were not receiving cotton from the Confederacy anymore. Very windy, so I hope you're not hearing all those noises. I am trying to cover my mic, but I do keep forgetting. All sorts of things for sale, particularly for the kids, who, of course, will come here with their family. And that's where we have come from. Another few minutes walking by the shores of the Mediterranean. Probably a good spot for dating couples as well. Of course, I'm long past that. Yeah, they were a lot of fun, right, Dawn? More Captain Jack Sparrow. Andre, it's interesting you asked that. I tried to find out if if the cotton was around here, and I couldn't find any explicit uh, references to cotton being grown in the area, but I assume because they keep talking about building the railway that then connects Adana to Mersin, that there must have been cotton that was being grown in the region for which they were using the rails to transport it to Mersin. But that's the extent of my knowledge on that subject. You can see the park as well. Gonna cut across the grass, take you to our final destination. Jazz, you ask about the boat to Cyprus. Because this is off season, they are not operating the regular ferry boats, which I believe are much quicker. The one that we are taking will take us between, I think, about 7 to 8 hours. So it's a little bit of a tedious journey, but one which I'm quite willing or quite eager to take, because I really do want to get to Cyprus. And I just think that traveling around by surface, which could be rail or ship, is so much more enjoyable than just taking the flight. The flights, there are direct flights from Ankara and Istanbul, but I want to, before I get back to Istanbul, stop at a few other cities around the Mediterranean where hopefully I'll be able to do some more live streams as well. So please stay tuned for that. Those of you who are not following my channel, please do. I hope to live stream, if the signal permits, from northern Turkey as well. It's a nice, lazy, sunny afternoon here in Mersin, southeast Turkey. For those of you who have been following the news about the quake, Mersin is just a couple of hours' drive from Adana. Adana was affected by the earthquake, although it's not near the epicenter. When I speak with people here, they do say that they felt the earth shake, but no real damage or deaths were reported. Peter, I hope to be able to bring a couple of live tours, if possible, from Cyprus, northern Cyprus, from Famagusta, and possibly, if I can, signal permitting, time permitting, from Larnaca as well. Now, if any of those of you who are familiar with Turkey will know it's hard to escape this man wherever you go. I know the light is not so great right now, so let me go to a spot where the light is a little bit better and also you can see his face. This is, of course, none other than Mr. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, or father of the Turks. Those of you who can read the Turkish, of course, maybe you can translate. Atatürk founded the Republic of Turkey from the remnants of the Ottoman Empire 100 years ago in 1923. Mersin was occupied by the French in the aftermath of the First World War. Remember, the First World War ended in 1918. The Turks referred to the War of Liberation, in which Ataturk and the the Ottoman army, or the new Ottoman army under him, the Republicans, they liberated not just Mersin, but also cities like Istanbul, Izmir. And so that is why he was is such a revered figure in Turkey, because he was the leader in the War of National Liberation. And as a result of that, was able to push through a lot of reforms, which, though controversial in some sense, were what laid the foundations for the modern Republic of Turkey. And this is 100 years in 2023, 100 years ago, when it was proclaimed in 1923. I hope I've not said anything too controversial there, but that, my friends, is Mersin. And I do thank you all for joining me on today's walkabout. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you a little bit of an idea of what this wonderful port city is all about, the Mediterranean, the fact that it is also a thriving city. You may have noticed that from the walk around the shopping areas. And hopefully it gave you an introduction to my channel as well. And Victoria, and thank you very much. And Andre, thank you also for enlightening us on some of those things that you did. Again, I hope that you will follow me, and we'll meet hopefully now from northern Cyprus. Those of you who are able to, it would be wonderful if you can leave a tip. It does help us to put new content through on Hago. If you can't, that's all right. I hope you enjoyed the tour anyway, and you will come back for more. It's all about having a great time, building a community. So thank you all for joining me with that. All right, thank you. If there are any comments or questions, I'll take them now, even though probably people like Andre and Anne can answer more questions about this place than I can. All right. So thank you very much. Take care. We'll see you soon. Okay. Bye bye.